Hello and welcome to my channel, where I review photos to teach important photography concepts so you can become a better photographer. I'll be reviewing my own photo here, but if you want to submit one of your photos for a critique, please drop me a DM in my Instagram account and I'll leave a link in the description. And at the end of this video, I'll also reveal a hidden find within this photo that you really don't want to miss. So this photo that we're looking at right here is a wonderful example of reflective photography, something that I love to do. What I love so much about reflective photography is that when you're merging what's in front of the camera with what's reflected in the background, the viewer is required to look very carefully at everything in the scene in order to make sense of the role each part has in making up the final composite image. And this photo in particular, I found a very powerful message, which is that through the layering of the people and these faded reflections, it provides a glimpse into the diverse fleeting moments and symbolizes the interweaving of activities of people who are in such close proximity, yet so disconnected from each other. With that said, this photo really pulls you right in. When you look at it, you're drawn right into the photo. I think it's because of the people. We're naturally attracted and our attention is drawn to looking at people. And we have quite a lot of people here. We have this lady here, 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 and this guy over here. So throughout the whole picture, there's a lot of different people to look at, different sizes as well, which also helps make it interesting. The eye is really just jumping all over the place. There's just every place to look to see and understand what's going on here. And I like that about this picture because in that way it really captures this energy and mood of what's going on at a bus stop. You have people who are waiting, you have people who are busy loading up things to the bus, you have this person waiting as well, and this guy, it looks like he's typing on his phone is what I see here, right? So there's a lot of activity going on and I like this a lot. I want to point out, not that you would notice this, but as a reflective picture, I did something very unusual here. I actually flipped the photo because this picture is taken as a reflection. All these buses and everything here is really behind me, and in that way everything here is, all the text would be reversed. Now this is in Israel and written in Hebrew, so you might not realize that, but like the number 109 at least over here, you could see it says 109 right now. And so just to show you here, this is what the photo actually looked like, and you can see here this number 109 is actually backwards. So this is what the picture really looked like when I took it, but since I felt it would make more sense for everyone if we make it to read normally, so we flipped it the other way around, like here. Okay, so this is what how I'm presenting the photo. So when I look at this photo, as I said before, when we're looking at this photo, there's so much to look at, so much to engage the eye, and that's something I really love about reflective photography. What I think is, what I see happening here is that this lady here is the most clearly in focus and recognizable as a person. I mean, there's this lady's head over here as well, but what that means to me is that the eye comes right here to start off with, and then it sort of moves its way slowly across to the other side of the picture, and then comes back down around here. And the reason this is happening is we have her, then the next point is this lady is this very colorful point over here, and then we have maybe coming up here, and then this strong line that pulls us back. So we have this sort of cycle going on in the picture. That's what I see over here. I also like the balance in this photo, that we have this strong shape over here, balanced with strong shapes over here. And then also we have a contrast and balance between the fact that everyone over here are these people, organic shapes, and then we have a bunch of buildings and buses which are more mechanical and more rigid and man-made shapes. So we have a whole bunch of those contrasts and balance and those contrasts going on here, which I think adds a nice balance and keeps things interesting. It shakes things up a little here. We have people, man-made object, people, man-made object, people, man-made object. So it's sort of like this rhythm going on here back and forth, and keeps things moving along and interesting for the eye to look at. On the other hand, I do think that this photo it sort of lacks a clear focus. I mean, as I said before, this lady is probably where the eye enters and is most attracted to, but she's really off to the side. It's not like using the rule of thirds, like to put her over here maybe would be if she was like a focus point. But as an entry point, she's over here. And the fact that there isn't, for me, a clear focus, that there's all these little different areas to look at, for me, that's not the biggest problem, because a photo doesn't always need to have a specific focus. Here, I think the photo is more about the mood and this feeling, the story going on here about this interconnectivity and disconnection from each other, and like the whole story going on in the picture. So it's not one specific focus point, there's many. And so I think that's, even though it's a negative in one aspect, you can look at it as actually the main point of the photo. However, something that is more problematic for me is this line. This diagonal line is so strong. It's such a bright area over here and then relatively dark, and it stands out from everything else in the picture. There's a lot of other lines like over here, but everything else is an interplay, a mixing of shapes and colors, and right here it's not. It's just contrast between light and dark. And so the eye, it stands out from the whole rest of the picture, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, except for the fact that why? What is the motivation? Why would that be over here? Right? So if there was a reason that would be justify this strong line, so I could say okay, but I don't really know why this line is doing this. It does add to, there are a bunch of leading lines, we could say, like we have this leading line from this building and this very strong line here. The bus lines also lead to this point. Everything's sort of, and over here also the sidewalk, there's a lot of things that are leading to this area of the photo, but there's nothing there. So that's a little bit also a negative in my mind. Not a huge detraction, but I'm just pointing out that it's something that I think about when I'm looking at this picture. Another thing also that I think could be maybe, I'm not sure if we can make it better exactly, but something else that strikes me is that when we look at the color saturation, we have this lady herself, that I would have much preferred that we were seeing the front of her and not just her backside, because it's not as clear what she's doing. I mean, it looks to me like she's loading her stuff onto the bus, but it doesn't read so clearly. On top of that, this actually is the brightest, most saturated area of the photo, it looks like, right? We have everything, lots of dim, dull colors over here, but she's wearing this, floral dress with this pinks and reds and everything here, and that really stands out very strongly. So I think that's something that could be, maybe we could tone down her color, the color of the dress maybe, or maybe boost everything else. If I turn this into black and white, take and desaturate everything, and see if that looks better, because now everything just becomes tonal values. I'm not sure if I like it more than the original, but in actually turning it to black and white, I do notice something that, look over here, this little area right here, and this over here, when I undo the saturation. Look at that. Really jumps out at you. So whereas before I thought that this is the highest saturation, maybe the reds do stand out to my eye, but this blue, wow, that is very, very strong dot. Okay, so that's, I didn't notice it before, but in turning between saturation on and off, I see that blue is crazy strong. And this orange area over here also is a little strong, not as much as that blue. So that's, I don't know, maybe also a slight negative. But overall, I think this is a really strong photo. And as again, you can't plan things like this. When you're doing a reflective photography in a street scene, it's all pandemonium and you have to sort of time it and try to get the best thing. But there's a lot of things that are going on here that you really can't plan for. So the idea is that even though there are some negatives here, but overall, I think the strengths of this photo really outweigh whatever I'm seeing as could be improved. And so I really do love this photo. And my favorite part of this photo, a little bonus here, is what's happening right over here. Check what happens when I zoom in here. Okay, look at this area over here, where we have this young girl's head that's sort of composited inside the older woman's head. And I think that's beautiful, so incredible. And maybe even like this message as well, like we have this woman here and we have this younger girl here, and also you have other people as well. There's this person, and it could be talking about generations or things like that. It's just really pretty. And that's a really unexpected surprise that we found in this picture that I really like. So I hope you enjoyed this critique of this photo. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. If you agree with me about what the strengths are and the weaknesses, or if you saw something else that you want to point out, let me know what you think in the comments. And if you've enjoyed this photo critique, then check out my book, Composition Techniques to Create Compelling Photos. Chock full of examples and practical exercises, you'll learn how you can take your photography from good to great. It's available both as a paperback and digital download on Amazon. I'll leave links in the description below. Thanks again so much for watching, and I look forward to reading your comments and seeing you in another video.